Most of the things many of us are doing in order to try and create healthy self-esteem are completely wrong. But we keep doing them and we keep thinking that they're going to work, but they either don't work, they haven't worked, or they don't last. And spoiler alert, whenever we are trying to do something on the outside, change or manipulate or finagle something on the outside so that we can feel good about ourselves in the inside, it is a losing battle, because we cannot create something on the inside by trying to make things be a certain way on the outside, changing our looks, changing our relationships, changing our job, getting more success, getting more approval. All of these things that we do in order to try and feel good about ourselves are all external things. But our self-esteem, our relationship with ourselves, is an inside job. And so today we're going to talk about the 6 main things that do create healthy self-esteem when we are intentional about making these things a part of our lives and changing our mindset and changing the way we approach these 6 different things. So stay tuned. I think you're going to like and get a lot out of these ones. They are life changers when we really use them and apply them. If you're new here, I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to our amazing corner on the internet. Introduce yourself in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that we can stay connected. And if you are not new, always so good to have you back. My name is Kristina, and I'm a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of the Breakthrough Coaching Program. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help heart-centered go-getter men and women break through the crap that is holding them back so they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And so let's talk about what self-esteem really is. And according to Nathaniel Braden, who has written a book called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, it is a fantastic book. There is a lot in there. And a lot of what we're going to talk today about is based on his teaching, but he breaks self-esteem down into 2 main parts. And the first part is self-efficacy. And so this is our ability to be able to think for ourselves, to know that we are the ones who are thinking for ourselves, that we are in charge of our own lives. And also we have this belief that we can handle what life has for us, that we are equipped in order to be able to handle the challenges of life, that no matter what happens, we can figure it out. We have that sense of self-mastery and that self-efficacy and those resources within us to be able to handle what life has for us. And then the next part of self-esteem, building high self-esteem, is this idea that we have self-respect. So really looking at how much we value ourselves, how much value we think we have, how worthy we feel. Do you believe that you deserve to be happy? Do you believe that you deserve to have a good life? Do you believe that you deserve to have good things in your life? Do you believe that you matter and that you have value just for being you, not dependent on anything else? And so just take a second. I want you to check in the comment section below. Where are you at that with those 2 things? How much do you feel like you have mastery over your own life, like you have a say in your own life, like you are in charge of your choices, that you don't always have control over our circumstances, but you always have choices within them and you feel equipped to be able to handle them, and also that you believe in your intrinsic worthiness, that you don't have to do or be or become anything or anyone else in order to be good enough, that you just have that sense. And I know that these are tricky ones and not all of us feel them 100% all of the time, but just kind of let us know where you're at with that in the comment section below. So what are these 6 cornerstones that build up, that make up healthy self-esteem? What if trying to change the way we look, or trying to change the shape of our body, or trying to have more success or more power or more money or more stuff or whatever it is that we think we need in order to feel good, more praise, more recognition, more accolades, whatever it is we think we need on the outside. And if it's not that stuff, then what is it? And here are the 6 things that make it up that we do. And the interesting thing as well is that these 6 cornerstones of healthy self-esteem, they are natural expressions of people who have healthy self-esteem. But the good news is when we are intentional about making them a priority in our lives, about working through to getting to the place where we are doing them as well, we are making them a part of our lives, they are the things that build our healthy self-esteem. The first one, this is a big one, you've heard me talk about this before, is living consciously. Are we consciously aware of our thoughts and our feelings? Are we making intentional choices, or are we just getting pulled along with whatever is happening around us, where we're being dictated by our thoughts and feelings, that we are just thinking that, well, if I feel bad, if I feel guilty about this, then I better go along and do it, that I have no choice. As soon as we say to ourselves, I have no choice, and unless someone is pointing a gun to your head, you have a choice. You might not like the consequences of that choice. You might not like what will happen if you make that choice. You not be willing to or prepared to accept the results of that choice, but you have a choice. We always have choices. We don't always have control over our circumstances. We always have choices within them. And so living consciously, knowing that I am the director of my own life, that I am not my thoughts. I'm the thinker of my thoughts. I am not my feelings. I'm the experiencer of my feelings. We can observe ourselves having experiences instead of always just getting pulled along behind them and dragged along with whatever is coming up for us in our lives. The next cornerstone is self-acceptance. There are no prerequisites to worthiness. This is about saying, I am who I am right now, and I accept that. And that is sometimes a really hard thing, especially those of us who have really struggled with self-rejection or self-hate or self-criticism, because we've been told and taught to believe that there are things about us that make us unworthy. That we have been taught and told to believe that we are not good enough, that we need to be or become something or someone else in order to be good enough. We need to be smarter. We need to be prettier. We need to be more successful. We need to get better grades. Maybe if you're a child, so you need to be and do all of these things in order to be worthy. But self-acceptance is about saying, this is who I am right now. Right or wrong, good or bad, healthy or unhealthy, helpful or unhelpful, this is where I'm at. This isn't about resigning ourselves to just kind of go along with whatever we're struggling with or whatever areas need a little bit of finagling, but this isn't about saying that I will only be good enough when I am or have or feel or look like or can do these things. There is no when then. There is only here now. And yes, we all have things that we're working on. Yes, we all have things that we want to just sort of iron out, edges that we want to smooth, but that has nothing to do with our worthiness and about not being good enough. It's part of a natural expression of being a human being, to learn and to grow and to allow ourselves to get rid of the stuff that's preventing us from being who we really are, and breaking through that and letting ourselves be more of who we are and accepting ourselves every step along the way. The next thing that builds our healthy self-esteem, taking full responsibility for our lives. No one is coming to fix us, to pave the way, to make it better, to do it for us. If there's something that we want, if there's a life that we want, if there's a goal that we have, if there's a relationship that we want, a type of relation, we want a healthy relationship, taking responsibility for that, believing that we can have that, doing what we need to do to create what it is we want for our lives. We take responsibility for it. We don't wait for someone to come and fix it and do it for us. Because the truth is, what we want in our lives is not more important to anyone else than it is to us. So nobody else is supposed to care about it or be as invested in making sure that that happens for us as we are, because it is our lives and we are always going to be the ones who are most impacted by our own choices. So taking personal responsibility, even if it's taking responsibility for your own healing, if you've been through things in your life, taking full responsibility. And I love that saying, I've mentioned this before, that quote by Glennon Doyle, who says, your healing is probably not your fault. Your pain is probably not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. If we want to be moving through that pain, if we want to be breaking free from that pain, then our healing is our responsibility. No one is coming to do it for us. It's our lives. It's our responsibility in whatever area that is. There's something that we don't have, that we want. Internally, externally, whatever it is, we are the ones who are doing what we need to do to make that happen. The next cornerstone of healthy self-esteem is self-assertiveness. And I know, highly sensitive, those of you who are highly sensitive people, we often struggle with speaking up and asserting ourselves and saying what we want, think, need, or feel because we worry about hurting someone else's feelings, putting somebody else off. We worry about creating conflict or upset. We don't want people to not like us. We don't want people to have opinions of us that we don't want them to have. We don't want people to think that we're silly or stupid or selfish or difficult or whatever that is. And so we just lock it up. We just keep it closed, we don't say anything, and then we end up suffering and struggling in silence, and we don't speak up. We end up feeling trapped and stuck and resentful and frustrated and just, again, feeling we're just being pulled along with whatever in life, whoever and whatever, and we're just being pulled along. But healthy self-esteem comes when we say and we speak up and we allow ourselves and we believe that our voice counts too. Not more than anyone else's, but absolutely not less than anyone else's. If speaking up, if saying what you want, think, need, and feel, if you are tired of just sort of like climbing up and closing up and struggling internally, but then not saying anything about it, not doing anything about it, then I want you to take my Speak and Feel Heard Assertive and Effective Communication Masterclass. I'm going to put the link to that below. You're going to learn some rock star communication skills. You're going to understand what's going on in your brain and why you struggle to speak up and what you can do to turn that around, as well as some practical applications, step-by-step processes that you can start using right away in order to speak up and not worry so much, and maybe even not worry at all about what other people think, because their thoughts are not your responsibility. Your voice, your needs, your ability to speak up and you're giving yourself the freedom to do so is your responsibility. So make sure you check out that course as well. The next cornerstone of building healthy self-esteem, and this comes back to this personal responsibility as well, but living a life with intention and purpose, deciding what you want for your life, what's meaningful for you. What do you want your life to mean? What do you want to do with your life? Feeling like you're not just going through the motions. You're not just going day in and day out, get up, go to work, come home, get ready for the next day, and do it all again. And it doesn't matter what your purpose is. If your purpose is being a great parent, if your purpose is changing the world in some big way, if your purpose is getting really good at macrame, I don't know what it is. If your purpose is helping people who don't have as much as you have, if you want to make an impact, if there's a cause that's important to you, but finding what is your purpose, what is your driver? So many of us are living our lives in gray and we're just going through the motions, but creating that color is up to us. Absolutely. No one's going to come. Again, no one's going to come and do it for us. What lights you up? What causes, what projects, what things do you love? And for some of us, it's not always super clear. And again, for those of my perfectionists in the group, those are my perfectionists who have the perfectionist brain, or they're like, I have to find that one thing, and there's just going to be one thing, and I got to get it right, and I need to know what my exact one purpose is right now for all of time, or else I'm failing, or else I've got it wrong, and I'm going to end up wasting a bunch of time. That is not true. Your purpose can change. My purpose has changed several times as I've grown and evolved to different levels in my life, personally and professionally. My purpose and my goals and the things that I want and the things that I'm working towards have changed. Let yourself be fluid. Don't get stuck in that perfectionist brain, that perfection paralysis that says, well, if I don't have it all figured out now, then I can't do anything. Start with something. What's something that lights you up? What's something, if you were doing that more regularly, would make you excited for the next day? Make you excited if it's for something that you're working on the weekend, if it's a project, if it's a cause, if it's a skill that you're building, something that you're investing yourself in because it allows you to learn and grow and stretch. What is it? That's going to help you build that healthy self-esteem, as well as probably make a positive difference in the world. So, living with intention and purpose, deciding what that is and going for it. And then our sixth cornerstone of healthy self-esteem is living with integrity. And I'm not talking and saying that you have to go out and be this like morally upholding person who never does anything wrong and who never makes mistakes and who is never selfish and whatever that is. I'm not saying that you have to be this like perfect being. More so in this way of integrity, I'm talking about integrity within yourself. I'm talking about fulfilling the promises that you make to yourself, and also being really responsible with the promises you make to yourself. Not just saying like, starting tomorrow, I'm going to go to the gym every day and I'm going to eat healthy and I'm not going to have any unnecessary conversations that I don't want to have, and I'm going to love and celebrate my body every moment of every day, or whatever that is, and then not doing it. That's an irresponsible promise, because you know and I know that that is not going to happen just like this. But it's about making these small promises to ourselves and fulfilling those promises, making promises of things that we can do, that do make sense, that are achievable and sustainable. And then making sure that we fulfill those promises to ourselves, because when we promise things to ourselves and we break that integrity, our brain is listening. Our mind is listening, and it's like, I can't trust you. And you know as well as I do, that it's really hard to have a healthy, strong relationship with someone that we can't trust. And the same things goes for ourselves. When we are not living within our own internal integrity, when we are not doing what we are saying what we are going to do, when we are not following through with what we say we are going to do, that breaks our relationship and damages our relationship with ourselves. And again, being responsible and mindful of the things that we are committing to and promising to do on the outside when it comes to our relationships as well, and being mindful of the things that we are saying yes to, and making sure that it's something that we can follow through on, instead of just saying yes because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings or get them to be upset with us, and then we end up just knowing that we're going to back out at the last minute or say no at the last minute. That breaks integrity within ourselves, because we are lying to them and we are lying to ourselves. And again, it's really hard to have a healthy relationship with someone who is always lying to us, including when we are lying to ourselves. So taking responsibility for our limits and our needs, and then making commitments to ourselves. Start with small and doable. It's not go big or go home. It's start small to moderate and make it doable and sustainable. And starting with making these promises to ourselves to take better care of ourselves in small ways, to stand up and speak up for ourselves in less intense situations as we build up to being able to do that in the more difficult situations. It's about not letting ourselves get pulled into unnecessary conversations. It's anything. Any promise that you want to make to yourself that you're like, this is important to me and it's time I started to take this seriously. If it's promising to heal from stuff that you've been through, to deal with your stuff, to get unstuck, and starting to invest in that process, invest in yourself and in your life, creating and keeping that promise. If saying no is something that you struggle with, then I want you to make sure you grab and download my free download, 25 Ways to Say No. This was just going to start us off nice and light, learning how to say no and learning how to speak up, and showing our brain that our wants, needs, and preferences matter, and that we are allowed to communicate that. That is going to start to build that relationship with ourselves. Make sure you grab that free download. And if you're ready for the next level, learning some better communication skills, learning how to speak up, feeling equipped so that you know what to say in some of these more challenging situations, or these times when you want to say something but you're holding yourself back, you're second guessing yourself, you're worrying what people are going to think. It's going to give you some tools to help you be able to do that more effectively, and also help you change your mindset so you're not getting in your own way and preventing yourself from doing that in the first place. So make sure you grab that, Speak and Feel Heard. Which one of these connected with you? Is this a relief to know that you don't have to do all these things on the outside? You don't need to be or become anything or anyone else in order to be good enough? That it is an inside job, and we start small. This is a big list. There is a lot here. I don't want perfectionists. I'm not going to be like, I've got to do it all, and I've got to do it all at once, or else I'm failing and I'm not good enough and I can't do anything right, or whatever your brain is going to try and tell you. Mind that. Not go big or go home. Go small to moderate and make it doable and sustainable. Start with one small thing. What's one thing that you're going to work on from this list? What's one thing you're going to put your intention to working on now? And once that becomes more natural, once that becomes part of your new normal, by practicing and integrating and making that just a regular part of who you are, then which one are you going to go to next? That is the only way that change is sustainable and lasts and makes a difference, is if we gradually, slowly, intentionally work at it, chip away at it. Building a house brick by brick. Climbing a mountain step by step. Can't sprint a marathon. Any other analogies? Thank you all so much for being here. Like the video, share it out. If you feel like there's someone in your life who needs to hear this, who you're like, this is the thing that is going to help them. If you're like, this is the thing that made sense for me and is helping me, then please do share this with other people, because they need to hear this information, because so many of us are wasting so much time going about things all wrong and wondering why we're not getting anywhere. Thank you so much for being here. Love having you here. Come and join my Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. And did I tell you, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, you need to stay connected. We need to keep connected, and you need to keep coming back so that we can keep learning and growing together. Until next time, take good care.